beautiful soul family, and welcome back to On Another Level. And so sitting at my computer, I have the Bible open, and I wanted to do a reading about generated storms, because as I go along my day, Divine Spirit speaks to me. Archangels, guardian angels. I'm giving wisdom, and wisdom is not just for me. It's not just for me. Divine Spirit is showing me about a person who is just give me this, and 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 they hold it all to themselves. Divine Spirit is also showing me about a person who has talents, but they hide the talents. And they say, well, I was keeping it safe until you were coming so that I can give it back, so I can have it safe. But Divine Spirit gave us talents so that we can share. There was one who had 10 talents, one who had 5, and one who had 1. The one that had 5 and 10 talents, they were the ones doing the most with it. They were sharing. They were doing as much as they possibly could with 5 and 10 talents. And there was a person who had 1 talent, and that 1 talent, they took it and hid it. Well, I didn't want anybody to get to it, so I was holding it and keeping it safe. And so, yes, I'm back again. But Divine Spirit speaks to me, and I could just hold it for my family. I could just hold it even for myself. But that is of lack-mindedness. I have talents, I have skills, but most importantly, Divine Spirit is speaking to me. Archangels, guardian angels, giving me a message, not just for me to have for myself, because I'm learning from this. As I take my steps, as I'm walking forward by faith and not by sight, I'm learning too. But one of the things that I have learned is that for every message that I get, to share it, and it will not stop bothering me. Like, there's another reading that I woke up, I believe it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, I woke up and I opened up the scriptures, and it was telling me about something that Divine Spirit is going to be doing. And I have not uploaded that as yet, and it is still, what I see myself doing that reading. I've done the reading of His Word, and I have to upload it. And it won't stop until I upload. And so I have to go through my videos. Which one is the video? Oh my God. I laugh, but it's not funny. And then I'm like, okay, I have to do this reading, and I have to do this reading. I have to share this message. It's a great urgency. And so if I have to come on and press record 500 times, 5,000 times, I'm going to do it. So here's yet another message about Sabbath day. And why Sabbath is so important. One, it's brought out in the Bible about Pharaoh. Didn't want to let the people go. See, the people were to be let go so that they can bring forth worship to Divine Spirit. So they can be reminded that they are free, but that is the whole point. Pharaoh did not even want them to have a second of knowing how free and loved they are, because that little bit of strength. I was supposed to do this recording on my computer to capture it both ways, just in case, But anyways, let me just stand up and make sure that it's recording. And it is. But the thing about it is, beautiful soul family, is that just a little bit. Sometimes you don't need a lot. Sometimes you just need that little word. Sometimes it's that little smile in the midst of the storm. Woo! And speaking of which, Divine Spirit was speaking to me in reference to the storm. Generated storms. There are storms where, tower moments where it's divine intervention. But nowadays we're coming into seeing how the government and scientists in their labs are creating storms. Creating more illusions. So Pharaoh did not want to set the people go. Did not want to let the people go because it was fear. Fear of him losing control. Fear of the people no longer being run by fear. Because fear is used as a tool. Divine Spirit says, I want you free. You are free. And you have always been free. But it's about removing, taking a time to rest. So, where is it at? Sabbath, right? Here it says, a day of rest. All right? It's supposed to be a day of rest. Also, Saturn. And that's about discipline. So, when I look at the word sat, okay, this, Divine Spirit continues to break down words to me, shows me words and stuff like that, the spelling, helping me to get a deeper understanding. And so as I sat here and I was ready to do this other reading, and I was like, Sabbath, today is Saturday. When you look at Saturday, it's Sat, S-A-T-U-R-D-A-Y. Sat. Sat is past tense. That means something that has been decreed for you to sat, for you to take rest. So interesting because my camera, and I had to make space. So I'm back at it again. Yes, I'm back at it again. So interesting enough to note, here we have Sabbath. The core of this word is Abba. Abba means father. S, Saturday, sit, sat, TH, right? Truth, honor. You can make any acronym out of it, really. It's what comes to your mind. But it's a day of rest to bring honor. Who are we bringing honor to Divine Spirit? Because it was on this day that Divine Spirit, who needs not take rest, but took rest. It's like after working, the rest that we're talking about it's accomplished. Accomplished to know. You ever were working on a project and and you just take a step back. Now there's still things going on, let's say a party. Okay, and so you took the time to plan out the party, when the party's going to take place, who's going to be invited, what food you're going to serve, what music you're going to play, what day is it going to be on, is it going to be in the daytime, is it going to be at the nighttime? You did your necessary planning, you did the blueprint, and then you go ahead and you carry out that plan. And as you're carrying out that plan, you have different people who are designated to do certain things. And it's so interesting because everything is coming into plan. And so you take a look at the left, you take a look at the right, and you see the caterings coming through. You see the people prettying up the tables. You see the DJ working on the music. You see people working on the lighting. You see people bringing forth cleaning into the room, the banquet. And you're taking a look and you're like, wow, everything is coming together. This is why everything is in the midst. It's like the whole body. Everything is functioning together, working according to what it's purposed to do. And all is well. Everything is going well. Everything is good. Usually a manager or a CEO will take a look as things are going, as things are functioning, as things are in the process. Okay? You take a look, you take a step back and you say, okay, I'm liking where this is going. It's functioning well. The body is functioning well. There is no upsets at the moment. But if there are, I have things in its place to continue its balance. That's in the midst of it. Because divine spirit spoke light and saw that it was good, but that wasn't just it. He continued to speak things into manifestation. But then there came a time where, as all is working together accordingly well to its purpose, because everything has purpose. The air has purpose. Sun has purpose. The moon has purpose. Stars have purpose. The heavenly realm has purpose. The grass that you walk in has purpose. Trees have purpose. Everything has purpose. Everything has purpose. Imagine the tree is trying to be like a rock. The tree has purpose. Birds have purpose. Animals have purpose. The fish in the sea has purpose. Light has purpose. Everything that's created, beautifully so, has purpose. Much like that banquet room, the caterers have purpose. The person that's doing the cleaning has purpose. The person making the tables, prettying up everything, the lighting, one working on the lighting, one working on the air conditioning, has purpose. The DJ, figuring out which music, has purpose. Everything has purpose. Everything is noted. There is no reaction, there is response. And everything is going according to its natural flow. It's divine flow. Interesting enough. Let me make sure that this is recorded. It's funny. But it's for real. So we have a day, as everything is working well, divine spirit took rest. As everything is done, just took rest and was pleased. The accomplishment is it's like that silence when you're just looking around and you're like, it was a lot of work. But I continue to believe in myself. Everything was in motion. And I didn't stop believing. I saw things in process. And it's that pause, it's that rest. He wasn't sleeping, but he took rest. He just stood back and admired. Admired his beautiful work. And that's what Sabbath is. As we are using just a measure amount of discipline throughout the week, before we start again, we admire divine spirit. The divine spirit is our Abba, our Father. In the Bible it says, some people be like, well, I never had a father, and I never had a mother. When I did, they weren't really there to nurture me. Divine Spirit in His Word says, if you have no mother, if you have no father, I will be your mother, and I will be your father. Hold on, let me find that scripture. Let me stop. Divine Spirit was telling me that there are people who find themselves, who have been adopted. Ooh-wee. I was thinking about doing this reading for divine feminines especially, but you know what? Hey, divine Spirit is bringing it to my mind, where it says, I will be your mother and I will be your father. Hold on, let me find the scripture. It says it in the Bible. And right now, time is of the essence. I will put it in the description box. But it says that if you don't have a mother or a father, I will be your mother and I will be your father. So there's no reason to say I was adopted. And matter of fact, coming to understand. Because a lot of people say, well, we are adopted. But the truth is that how can we be adopted when Divine Spirit is our original father, our original mother. Divine Spirit is our creator. To say that we are adopted, that means we were created by something else. I don't know. Anyways, the thing about it is Divine Spirit is our Heavenly Father. We are more than just mind and body. When you're in the world, it will be like as if you were adopted. But when you're of the earth, you realize, no, I'm not adopted. I have a mother and I have a father. In the world, it will seem like if you don't have a house to live in, you are homeless. But in the earth, you are not homeless. On this beautiful day of Sabbath, where the mid part, the core of it is Abba, is Father, is about giving time to reflect upon all the good that Divine Spirit has done. Also, just got to make sure. Also, in making sure that you are understanding in your own accomplishments, that you're not here to be a slave. Not when you have purpose. Being a slave is like doing something that you don't want to do and you're stuck. But you're not a slave. And you're not an orphan. And you're not homeless. When I think about these words, slave, orphan, and homeless, what I get from it is shun, is neglected, is rejected. I was reading somewhere where it was talking about in the wilderness. Let me just try to hold on to one thing at a time. Anyways, on this beautiful day, it's about bringing honor. Here we have Ephesians 6:2. I'm looking here and it says, honor your father and your mother. It is a day of honor. It is a day, if Divine Spirit took time of rest to admire such a great work that was done, we are to take this rest. You know what's so interesting, beautiful soul family? I don't know why my voice turned like that. But the thing about it is that we have these different holidays, right? Not exactly holy days, but holidays. And we're admiring Christopher Columbus. We're admiring so many other different things. But when we look to the roots of it, we realize, wait a minute, why were we bringing forth honor to that? What exactly did that do in our life? The Vice Spirit is telling me they were telling you what to put honor to. But I tell you, put honor to this day, this Sabbath day. Honor because this is a day that you were created and all was well. The earth, the sun, the moon, the celestial plane, the earthly plane, the waters. You. A day where Divine Spirit is admiring all that is created, all the beautiful work. That it wasn't a reaction, it was a response. It was well thought out. When you feel like you are orphan, or maybe often feeling like an orphan, or you feel rejected, neglected, misunderstood, enslaved, you are admired. You are seen as such a beautiful artwork. So much so that divine spirit took rest. You ever cooked a wonderful food, a wonderful meal, and put your foot in it? Like, that's the term. That's not you actually putting your foot in it, but you do it down. I love to cook, and so when I go ahead and I throw it down, let me calm down, cuz. But it's about when you put love into it. I have to constantly always check to make sure that it stays recorded. But when you throw it down, you'll be like, man, you put your whole foot in it. You put your all into it. Well, all you did was you put love. And you put care. And sincerity. Am I this silly? Yeah. Sometimes, you know, when it's about the word, when it's about giving a message, I try to leave so much of myself out. Because the message in itself is beautiful. You ever did something so good where you're just like, you take that pause, you're in awe, you're like, dang. It's funny because the Vice Spirit is telling me, is showing me a relative that said, you remember the time in the days when I did this and I did that, and man, I was really good back in those days. And they always talk about those old days, those good old days. Man, I used to really cut the rug. Or, man, you know, these are older terms. You know, this would be an older person speaking. And they're like, man, I really threw it down. Man, I was really fast. And you got that pause and they're just looking at you. I don't know why Divine Spirit is showing me, but maybe you can relate. Maybe you have done this to yourself and you're like, man, I really did a good job on that one. Ooh-wee. And you caught, and you're in a daze, and you're in memory. It's been very hard to deliver these messages, and so I have to keep on, because once I get into it and I'm channeling and I'm exuding, I'm giving you energy. And you're like, man, I remember how all the workings, you know, you're working on a project and you're like, I don't really know if this is going to do well, if it's going to do good. But, you know, I'm going to continue going because I have the hopes, man. I have that feeling that this is going to be good. Even with the sports. And you were on a sport team. We trained. We did so much work. We got to win. We got to be victorious. We believe in ourselves. We got to move forward. We got to be victorious. No matter what, we got to fulfill our purpose. And man, remember when we were working on that party, or we were working on that project, and it really seemed bleak. But man, we all came through. And at the end of it, there is that pause where you're like, victory. Where you're admiring. And you're at awe. And it feels good. So much to where you're speechless. And that's the rest. That is, Divine Spirit is telling me that is what that rest feels like. And that's what Divine Spirit, that's the energy that Divine Spirit, that's what Sabbath is about. It's about being in the energy of rest, being in the energy of restoration. Also, what I see is bath. Taking a bath. Clearing up energies. Spending time with self. S can also be about self. It's your day to rest. It's your day to be thoroughly cleaned of energies and to reflect on and be in awe before the first day starts again, and that is Sunday. Be in awe and bring forth the clearing as you go into Sunday. Your day of rest. This is your day. Not to honor something else, but this is a day of rest where you are saying, I'm going within, and as I go within, I'm building that relationship with Divine Spirit. I am able to see how Divine Spirit sees and feels. Just get a taste of it, a measure of it. And to feel good. It's a measure. It's a cup. And to take time to drink it. Like that one chocolate. It's not about the whole bar, but it's about the one chocolate that you sit to nibble upon and let it rest and melt away. Being, utilizing your senses both spiritually and physically to really see what Divine Spirit has done. What I'm hearing is what the Lord has made. Sat is past tense. What the Lord has is the operative word. It's in the past. What has already been done. And we need this. Now Divine Spirit is telling me to talk about the generated storms. So I'm going to go to that scripture. Actually, okay, so Sabbath day. Hold on. Here we have in Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 19 and 20. I have it here. Let me read it. And it says, I am the Lord your God. Follow my statutes. Keep my ordinances and practice them. Every Saturday we're practicing it. Okay? Keep my Sabbath holy. It's like a bath. You're not going to take a bath in murky water. You're going to bless your water. You're going to add herbs to your water. You're going to add sea salt to your water. Purify your water. Right? Put some crystals in your water. Put some music in the bathroom. Oils ready on hand. It's sacred. Keep my Sabbaths holy, and they will be a sign between me and you. See, also what's so interesting is that it leads me into Ephesians, I believe, where it's talking about the storms. You're not going to find me there. You're not going to find me there. You're not going to find me in these different generated storms. But you will find me. And I want to wait until I read the scripture. But here it says, keep my Sabbath holy, and they will be a sign between me and you. You see, when you don't need to see things on a grand scale. Things don't need to happen in such a major way. And this is the beautiful thing about going within with self-love, self-care, self-nurture, because we're about to go into major areas and major events where it's going to be so big that it's all, it's about the grandiorness. The thing about it is that you don't need to be taken by the grandiorness, because I am with you. I'm not outside of you. I am with you. Greater is me, Divine Spirit, that is within you than that of which is in the world. And here it is saying it is a sign. Now this sign, if you think about it, is overlooked. The still small voice is overlooked because of the noise, because of the temptations and distractions and disturbances, because of the grandiorness. Here it says 16. It says, because they rejected my ordinances, profaned my Sabbaths, and did not follow my statutes, for their hearts went after their idols. Yet I spared them from destruction, and did not bring them into the end in the wilderness. Ooh, chat. Remember I was saying something about the wilderness, and it says, verse 18, then I said to their children in the wilderness, don't follow the statutes of your fathers, defile yourself with their idols, or keep their ordinances. I am the Lord your God. Follow my statutes, keep my ordinances, and practice them. Keep my Sabbaths holy, and they will be a sign. That will be the sign. Things that you're told to overlook. the still small voice. You can't hear it. It's not going to, like I've mentioned before in other readings, that still small voice is going to stay still. Divine Spirit is grand, but it's gentle. And that is the still small voice. You see, it's like if you really want a teacher to, a room of students to listen to you, you don't have to yell. You remain the anchor and you speak at a low voice. And they will listen. One child at a time will listen. And it's that still voice. But you have to edge out the noise. And you have to edge out the distractions and the great big disturbances, the illusions, in order to see the sign. See, we're coming upon a time where there are going to be signs and wonders, and they're going to be so grandeur. And Divine Spirit says, nope, that's not me. Let's go to Ephesians, because I believe it was Ephesians, but let me go ahead and check. Here it says, boink. 1 Kings 19:12. Let's get it. Here we go. 1 Kings 19:12. Let's read 11. Then he said, "Go out and stand in the mountain in the Lord's presence." At that moment, the Lord passed by. A great mighty wind was tearing at the mountains and was shattering cliffs before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind, there was an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake, there was a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, there was a voice, a soft whisper. When Elijah heard it, he wrapped his face in his mantle and went out and stood at the entrance of the cave. Suddenly a voice came to him and said, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" See, Elijah was running away because there was so much turmoil. They were so wicked. People coming after him from left and right. They're just so wicked. And he was running for his life. And so the Divine Spirit is saying, don't be worried about what these people are doing. Because that's not me. I am with you. I am that still, small voice. I am that soft whisper. It's so interesting because as I was driving and I was listening to this, I was like, oh my goodness, Divine Spirit, you are awe and inspiring. You see, what's so interesting is that yesterday I wrote on my little board thing, and then sometimes I have to write it in a journal or write it on my board, a communication board that I have. And I wrote, a child speaking noise. God hears beyond the noise. Meaning, so as a child is speaking, as you're in the midst of struggle, as you're in the midst of noise, and you're speaking to Divine Spirit, Divine Spirit edges out the noise. And it's us that must edge out the noise to hear the soft voice, to hear Him, to hear Divine Spirit. It's so beautiful. I'm in love. I'm not in love with a person. I am in love with my purpose. I am at awe. I am like, you know what? Divine Spirit is absolutely beautiful. There was a time from where I was doing a reading and I had channeled that, and I was bewildered, but I was like, more and more as I go along in my journey, it is not about me that shines. I work behind the scenes, and not such a way that is wicked, but I work behind the scenes because it's not about me anymore. It's about divine spirit. God hears you beyond the noise. So when there's so much noise, when there's so much storms, when there's so much destructions, when there's so much disturbances, that doesn't fade divine spirit. I don't know if you had any children, but it's so interesting that when your child cries, amongst all the other children crying, you know which one your child is. You know the cry. And that's divine spirit. But conversations is a two-way street, is it not? And as a child is speaking in the midst of the noise, a parent knows how to edge out the noise to hear exactly what that child is saying. And that's how divine spirit is with us. And as I speak it, I feel like my hair is raising up. It's just so remarkable. So anyways, Ephesians, 1 Kings 19, and I said I was going to speak from 11, and it says, okay, so I already read it. And so the thing about it is that there are going to be generated storms. Oh, okay, so yeah, divine spirit brought it to my memory, where, okay, so people who don't create and they mimic, they always have to do things in such a major way. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? It's nothing wrong. This is only for those who are mimicking. And divine spirit is showing me about a puppet just dancing, right? And there's someone else behind that is manipulating the puppet. Meaning that there is someone bringing forth distractions and disturbances, like storms that are being generated to not move along with nature. Because the storms that even come in, we see them as storms, but a rainstorm, when it comes in, it's about what's really happening. It's the trees are being fed, you know, there was a clearing, you know. So when divine intervention comes in, it's for a purpose. And when there are storms that are generated, it's not for a divine purpose. So because there's no love in it, it's just noise and disturbances. When you see earthquakes and you see certain things, yeah, they're going to be a sign, but it's not divine spirit. But overall, divine spirit is over everything. And so no matter what the wicked does, it's just a tool to be used. Nothing and no one overcomes divine spirit. But as these things are coming about, beautiful soul family, in such a grandeur way to bring about illusion to everyone, because it's really behind it is a person utilizing it as a puppet. Divine spirit is not a genie, and divine spirit is not a puppet that can be used. And we shall find great joy in that. Let me make sure that this is recording. Yep. Where you will find divine spirit is that still, soft voice that is within you. And see, that can't be mimicked. All they can do is bring forth disturbances and distractions and temptations, anything to try to deter you from going within, deter you from bringing forth that disconnection to the world. Because once you take away where is that thing? Anyways, there is an oracle that I have, and like I keep, divine spirit keeps on showing me that when you holding up this mask, you are stuck. you are chained. But once you take down that mask, it's like it's mechanical. Once you take down the mask, you are broken free. And so that's what they're trying to prevent. All the noise, all the crying, all the disturbances, all these things done in such a grandeur way is preventing you from hearing a still, soft voice. And what's so interesting is that Divine Spirit's voice does not compete with the noise. Divine Spirit doesn't raise his voice as powerful and as mighty. Divine Spirit doesn't raise his voice. Doesn't compete. But it's about the contrast. Storms are generated to bring forth fear. It's disturbances. Remember, there's temptations, there's distractions, and then there's disturbances. So these storms that we're about to see and have been seeing have been generated. They're disturbances. There's noise. And then they're saying, why did God do this? No. It's like a karmic doing such things behind the scenes and then saying, wow, why did that divine being do that? Where they're the ones who caused the problem in the behind the scenes. You see what I'm saying? Part of my mission, my mission, part of my mission is to disprove Satan. To disprove the gossip. To bring truth, which disproves the lies. Divine Spirit says, I am not in the storms generated by man. I am that soft voice. I am there with you. And when you edge out the disturbances and you edge out the noise, there you will find me. Not outside yourself, but as you go within, there you will find me. There I have always been. And so, this morning, as I was still in bed, I was seeing myself, we're to see ourselves as children of Divine Spirit, right? And what do you understand by a child, right? A child is just so fresh and vibrant about learning. They're so excited. They have such a great imagination. They're all about life. They're all about living. They have such great, crisp enthusiasm. And when I think about my journey, this is who I am. I'm a child, ready to learn, always wanting to learn, just so exhilarated and excited about life, excited about sharing. Every time they learn something new, doesn't a child share with their best friend, with their friends and family, showing off their artwork or whatever it is, and they're just so excited. But even as children, a child will not stop crying until they hear their mother's or their father's voice. And we, as children of Divine Spirit, must edge out the noise. Must focus on Divine Spirit. Because we're going to see a lot. And a lot of people are going to wonder, and they're like, well, that's the sign. It's so grandeur. That's the sign. But no, that's not the sign. The sign has always been with you. It's that still soft voice. And all these distractions and disturbances are all about preventing you from going in. A child speaking in the midst of the noise. God hears beyond the noise. And as God, Divine Spirit, Almighty, hears you beyond the noise, we are to keep that conversation going by hearing divine spirit beyond the noise. Keep this day holy, Sabbath. Abba, Father. Take a seat and rest. Have a beautiful and wonderful day. You know what? I must say, there are oracle readers, there are light workers who are going according to their purpose, who are walking by faith and not by sight. Keep on doing what you're doing. You're bringing joy into the world. You're bringing light. You're bringing peace. You're bringing truth. Preachers, teachers, evangelists, prophets, prophetess, healers, way-showers, and guides. Keep on doing the great work. Have a beautiful and wonderful day. Namaste.